My initial reaction to this was, I need to save you. This is not real.
Thought it was snake oil, and I couldn't wait to get out of there as fast as I could.
The phone call, I was like, no, not a chance.
When I said yes, I just started thinking, what do we have to do to make this really work? Because I did not want to let anybody down.
And I didn't realize that a simple yes was going to change everything for me.
We have an obligation to probably give this thing a try.
It goes beyond what our expectations were. Now the body can do its God-given ability to go in and do what its natural ability to do is to heal itself.
But the one thing that was the biggest thing on my list is who can I count on in the field?
Let me tell you what freedom is. When you get a phone call from somebody and they said, you changed my life.
You're gonna touch so many people's lives. Wait till you get your story.
I think the biggest decision, and this is the honest to God's truth, the biggest decision was the buy-in from you guys. Because I couldn't do it by ourselves. We just couldn't.
Well, good evening, everybody. It's Chris here from the Whistle Stop Cafe in Mirror, Alberta. Thank you for joining. I see a lot of people in the comments from all over the place. Tons of our neighbors to the south, from the U.S., lots from Canada here. I see someone from my good friend Berta Proud Dad's place, Langdon, all over the place. Thank you very much for joining. If you're anything like me, you're probably attending this webinar a bit skeptical, but you very likely have this feeling that what you've been told about your health and wellness and these things maybe isn't quite what you were led to believe. Am I correct there? If I am, please just put something like that in the comments why you're here, and if you feel the same way I do. Over the last maybe, I guess, just 6 years or so, some things have occurred in my life that made me think about things and rethink about things and explore my world in ways that I never thought that I would. One of the things was the realization that maybe the things that we're told to do to promote our health are less about our health and more about keeping somebody's stock prices healthy or their wallets healthy. And we probably, most of us here probably felt that really, really, it was probably a really in your face thing when our governments all over the world told us we needed to do something for our health, but didn't actually talk about health. Anyway, so what I've done is I kind of opened my mind and I accepted that maybe things aren't the way I thought they were. And one of my friends, he presented to me a product that I immediately said, okay, yeah, there's no way. And I discounted it. But then I started thinking, wait a minute, maybe I should look at this because of what I've learned over the last few years. Maybe there is something to this. So I attended a Zoom call with my friend George, and a very good friend of mine, a doctor and immunologist, a virologist. He was on the call and he was talking about this, and he was talking about the mechanism and the process by which this works. And he said, yeah, the science is sound, the mechanism of action is sound. And I was like, wow, if this guy who I trust and know is saying this, then there must be something to this. So I gave it a shot and I started doing research. Since then, I've wrote blog articles on this. I've done videos on this. I've done a few interviews and podcasts, and I've gotten right into promoting this product, which is this guy here, pHix. We're going to talk about it all webinar. It's a matured bitter hop extract. And I'm already getting testimonials back from the people who have taken the chance and tried it along with me. And the testimonials are fantastic. We have a chat group that we share stuff like that in. I'll be talking live with some people probably next week about it, but it is legit. It's actually doing what advertised. So today I decided, let's get someone who knows the science of this product on, and let's have a discussion. Let's get some questions answered. Let's try and appease the skeptics, because this man, Dr. Kareem Griffith, was a skeptic himself, and he's probably going to share that with you. So without further ado, I would like to welcome Dr. Kareem Griffith to the, I just call it the Christopher Scott podcast. I don't have a fancy name. So thank you very much for joining.
Thank you, Chris, for having me. I feel very honored to be a guest here. You've been doing some amazing work with peeling back layers on what we've been told to be accurate as far as healthcare is concerned and other issues. And it's been a real paradigm shift for me personally, being a microbiologist and a pharmacist. The things that I've learned since I started looking into this nutraceutical that we're going to discuss tonight. So thank you for having me.
My pleasure. Thanks for joining. So I am what I would call myself a sovereigntist, and not just an Alberta sovereigntist, but I'm starting to see the world in a different lens. My finances, I need to be sovereign over my wealth. My health, I need to take sovereign control over my health, because who benefits the most from me being healthy and in a good state of wellness? Well, it's me. So I launched what I call the Sovereign Health Project. It's just a Facebook group where people are sharing information. I share a lot about the mature bitter hops extract, some of the other products that are just over my shoulder here. Another thing that I discovered recently is black garlic, which is absolutely amazing and delicious. And I just thought, you know what? I'm going to use this platform to share these things that I'm learning on my journey with others, and they can decide whatever, what they want to try it. Go ahead. If they don't, then they don't. But I really do believe that we have an obligation to share these things as we discover them, because who knows who could be helped with that kind of information. And that's what I picked up in that intro video when you were kind of describing how you got into this. Do you want to maybe first off just tell us what your credentials are, where you came from, how you ended up here, and then share a little bit about your testimony and how you ended up engaged with this product?
All right. So real basically, these credentials, as you say, is I have a degree in biology. I have a master's in microbiology and a doctorate in pharmacy. So I'm a PharmD, and I work as a clinical pharmacist at a hospital, one of the biggest hospitals in the state of Alabama. And when I first heard about this, absolutely, I was extremely skeptical. As you saw in the video, I said, let me stop you right now. This is counterintuitive to everything that I've been taught. There's no way that some purified water and whatever you're talking about, these hops, matured hops, you say, are going to do all these things that you're reporting back to me, or may possibly even have any beneficial effect. And so I need to look into this, and I need to protect my dear friend. Haley Keating is the one who was brave enough to share it with me, because most people don't bring nutraceuticals to doctors or pharmacists or people in the healthcare, because they think that they won't be open to it. But in actuality, if we're being honest with ourselves, and I want to first and foremost give praise to God that I had an open mindset, and I was just in the right state of mind to say, yes, let me take a look at this and do the research. That's what happened. So I can go into my story at this point and give you guys some more insight, or if you want to go into questions, you let me know. But that's my credentials, and that's how it was brought to me.
Yeah, I'd love to hear the story, and I'm sure the viewers would too. But before we go into that, I got to ask, how did you reconcile your findings with what you were taught in formalized, medicine?
Yeah. Oh boy. It wasn't easy. I actually had to bring in some other experts in my family. I had to say, listen, Dad, you're a doctor. You're an internal medicine doctor. You had your own clinic that you ran for 35 years. You're retired now. I need you to take a look at this. I think I may have found something. I don't know what it is, but I need you to help me go through the data. And then my brother, who's an emergency room doctor, he also came on board, and that's how I started to wrap my brain around it. We would go back and forth and say, listen, what did you find? I found that it's safe. Okay, what did you find? I found that it could be effective. What did you find? I found that it has a positive effect on reducing inflammation. What did you find? And so that's how I started to wrap my head around it. And so I said, okay, let's calm down. Let's calm down. We're too excited. Let's look at this, objectively and do what we're supposed to do as far as our due diligence is concerned. And let's make sure that we find clinical trials that are double blind, placebo controlled, meaning that, one person is given the actual product and the other person is not, and that these are clinically significant data that is available so that we can confirm that what we're finding is real. After we did that, we came back in about 3 days and we jumped on a Zoom with Terry, who I believe was on your show at one point. And we jumped back on the Zoom with Haley, and all of us were ready to go. So when that happened, you guys, I was in such a like, okay, what am I going to do? This looks like it's real type of place that I decided to say, hey, what do I have to lose? I need to probably take this for myself. Because if you don't know my story, and this is the first time you're seeing me, I'll share with you that 7 years ago, at age 43, I was diagnosed with end-stage congenital congestive heart failure. And my cardiologist was talking about putting in a defibrillator and best case scenarios. He gave me a 1 to 2 year prognosis and said, you need to kind of get your affairs in order. And that hit me really, really hard because I knew I was out of shape, and I just went in because I was having difficulty breathing. I didn't think I had congestive heart failure, and I didn't know what to do. Have you guys ever felt like you didn't know what to do? You've been lost. You didn't know where to turn. You knew you needed to lose some weight and give your body a chance, a fighting chance at whatever you've been diagnosed with. Well, that's where I was. And I'm a husband and I'm a father of 3 beautiful daughters, and they were worth fighting for. So whatever it took, I was willing to do as far as changing my lifestyle. And when I say to you that I know what fear and fatigue and discouragement feels like, I really mean it. Like, I was low. I was in a very low place. And this just came right on time because of my background in biology and microbiology and pharmacy. I was just so skeptical, but I was open. It's amazing that when we pray for things or ask for things, the way that it's presented to us, it comes to us through someone who cares, which is the reason that each and every one of you are here tonight, because someone cared enough to share this link with you or to post something on Facebook so that you guys could show up here tonight. And so I was honestly very skeptical when I first heard about matured hop bitter acids. And like I said, we dug into the data, combed through all of the natural product and clinical databases that I have access to. And when I brought my family into it, and I even brought my aunt, who is a lawyer, and she has her own office, her own law office, to make sure that the business side of it was all legit. And that checked out. So only after all of that research and a lot of prayer and a real conversation with my cardiologist and my family, specifically my wife, I said, okay, I'm going to try this for myself. And I started in November of 2024. And over time, you guys, my body has begun to change from the inside out, because our bodies actually have the ability to heal itself if we give it the foundation that it needs and we put it into that state of homeostasis. So my story just goes like this. I was one of the fast responders. 20% of the people that try this product feel something within the first maybe 7 to 10 days. 60% takes about 3 to 4 months. And the other 20% or so, maybe it might take 3 to 6 months, right? Because we didn't get in this position overnight. So you have to give your body time to heal. But I started to feel that I was getting deeper sleep. I had a smart scale that I could measure my visceral fat, which is one of the claims. And I saw that number decreasing. My brain fog lifted. And I even noticed that I wasn't taking over-the-counter like non-steroidal anti-inflammatories like your ibuprofens and your Tylenols anymore because my body was healing from within. So working closely again with my cardiologist, I was also able to reduce some of my medications, and today I am no longer a candidate. You guys, I went from having a candidate for a defibrillator. I went from having a very dire prognosis of saying I might have 1 to 2 years left to live to where I am no longer even a candidate. My ejection fraction was as low as 8%, and now it's back up to almost 50% today. And I attribute some of that to what I've been doing for the past 14 months in using these natural products. I feel more healthy than I've felt in over 10 years. And so that is my story, you guys. And I'm excited to share more with you towards the end.
Wow, that's quite the testimony. I actually missed part of it because my internet went out in the first half of it, but we'll catch up later.
Yeah.
That's kind of the same. Well, not the same, but I'm hearing the same type of excitement in a lot of people for a lot of different things, and it makes sense if your body is doing what it's supposed to do, and we were perfectly and wonderfully created with intent and purpose. Then it goes to say that we should be able to heal if we give our bodies the right things. And this seems to be something that can prepare our body to do that. Do you want to get a little bit into the mechanism behind how that may have worked for you?
Sure. Let's get into it. Do you have a specific question or?
Well, what is it that your vagus nerve controls 1100 processes in your body? We know that. We've seen that in lots of the literature. What in particular would that allow your body to do to help you with the issue that you're having?
So what I would do is I would start at the beginning, and this is how I did my research. I just had a list of questions that I went through, and I had to find the answers in the primary literature. And so that's directly from the clinical trials and the source. And I didn't even know what matured hop was. I didn't even know what that was because I don't drink beer. And I was just like, what is this? So when I looked it up, I discovered that matured hops, bitter acids, are also known as alpha and beta acids that are derived from Humulus lupulus, which are the cones that form during the controlled aging of the hops flower. They are bioactive phytochemicals that interact with the bitter taste receptors, and they've been studied for over 70 years for metabolic, neurocognitive, and autonomic effects. And simply, all of that I just said, if you didn't understand some of the terminology, is that matured hop bitter acids are tiny natural chemicals from the hops flowers that change as the hops age. So when we take them into our body, they gently send a signal through the vagus nerve that, hey, pay attention, stay alert, something's going on. And that's the first step. Now, you asked about the vagus nerve. The professional answer to that would be that they bind to the bitter taste receptors. We have them in our oral cavities. We have them along our gastrointestinal tract. We have them along our enteroendocrine, which is, within our intestines. And these signals are relayed throughout the gut-brain axis and pathways, including different fibers of the vagus nerve. And they are used to modulate the autonomic tone. So the vagal tone, you'll hear people talk about that. That's what they mean. And again, to simplify that, in your mouth, in your stomach, in your gut, there are receptors. They are bitter sensors. And when the matured hop bitter acids touch those sensors, they send a message up the big body wire, which is called the wandering nerve, and the 10th cranial nerve, which is our vagus nerve, which carries the news to your brain that, hey, we thought there might be a problem, but hold on, everything's okay, everything's good. So now what does the vagus nerve do with the signal? Well, it has to send some type of signal now that everything's good, and put it either into fight or flight, or put it into rest and digest. Normally, we live in this stressful world, and we all have pain in our life in some kind of shape, form, or fashion. And we stay in that sympathetic nervous system fight or flight state. But vagal activity by the gut and the taste towards moves you when you're taking this product, and it stimulates or activates, it moves you towards the parasympathetic dominance. And that influences your heart rate, your gastrointestinal motility, your inflammatory tone, and it influences the central stress response. So, in short, matured hot bitter acids are driving signals that can promote rest and digest over fight and flight. And your vagus nerve is like your calming switch. And so when it gets these bitter messages that says, slow down, everything is okay, your heart can beat a little bit slower, your visceral belly fat can start to be used, and it can tell the brain that you're safe and that you can relax. And so those are just some of the first things that I looked at.
That's quite the process, and thank you for breaking it down so that I could understand it. I forgot to mention in the beginning, there's a lot of people that are watching this this webinar who have been referred to watch by someone. Later on, I'm actually going to put a link up, and that link is going to be, if for those who are ready to try this, that's what you need to do. However, if you joined this webinar, and we're going to mention this a couple more times, if you joined this webinar from someone else who recommended you, please get back to them afterwards. This is very, very important. And we're going to talk about this a little bit at the end. But a product like this, I've realized it needs a story. It needs a testimony, because if you have a label on a shelf that says, hey, this is going to do this, everyone's going to walk by it and not try it. But if you have someone who's saying, hey, this is how this worked for me, you should try this, that is the best marketing and the best sales that any product can ever have. And the people that do the referring get rewarded through the business side of this, which is a commission. So if someone took the time to bless you with this information, please get back to them afterwards. Don't click my link. It's very, very important. Now, you mentioned the fight or flight state. I've realized that I think 90% of my life, I'm in that state. And if you actually go to ChatGPT and you ask about this, you'll find that the most beneficial state your body can be in for dealing with all sorts of things, inflammation in particular, is when you're in rest and digest. And we spend very little time there. So it goes without saying, if we can spend more time there, our state of wellness should become better as well. Is that an accurate interpretation?
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, a lot of people ask, well, how does this help with stress and feeling on edge, which is what we feel when we're in fight or flight? You know, there's a time for that. Sure, if we're in an emergency, if you're working out, if you're doing something that's strenuous, that's why the body has the ability to pump us up with the endorphins and the things that we need to get stuff done. But with that comes a lot of negative effects as well. And so, just like you said, by enhancing the vagal tone and modulating the access that supports lower perceived levels of stress, we can improve the emotional regulation. And that also reduces the sympathetic overactivity that you just mentioned you lived 90% of your life in, right? And you're not alone. That's where most of us live. We're concerned about bills. We're concerned about our parents. We're concerned about our kids. We're concerned about all kinds of things that keep us up at night and how we're going to make it through the day and from one paycheck to the next paycheck. And so it's just natural that even the processed foods that we eat keeps our body working harder and not working smarter. And through this vagal tone stimulation and strengthening, that acts as a gentle a neuromodulator rather than a sedative. So it's not something that's going to knock you out. It's just something that's going to make you more active in the rest and restoration phase. And that's where we want to be. And just one dose of this, which is 1.2 milliliters per dose, can last up to 9 hours. And that's really powerful. Most of the studies that if you look up and do your independent research, you're going to find that they only gave people maybe for 12 weeks or 24 weeks or 36, one dose a day. But most people in our community, like myself, I use this thing twice a day. And I
So do
take
I.
one, yeah, and it's amazing. The calmness that just comes over you helps you feel less wired and less agitated, and you can deal with life in a much more mindful way. And so I really enjoy that. And so the connection between the matured hot bitter acid and visceral fat metabolism is the other big question that a lot of people ask. And what I would say as far as that's concerned is that this is not a weight loss product, okay? As we get more energy and as we go into the fat stores that are in our body, and the preclinical study suggests that it can enhance thermogenesis, which is heating up those fat stores and activating the brown adipose tissue, which is our good fat. It can modestly reduce visceral adiposity. And likely via gut-brain signaling and the brown adipose tissue activation and metabolic hormone modulation is going to be the reason why you might just see some inches start to come off, why your pants might loosen up a little bit, because that's what happened to me. I was absolutely amazed the next day or two that I was on this product, and I got on that scale and I was down 1.5 pounds, and I put on I said, what is going on? I later went back and found out that, there was some lymphatic draining and, different things that were happening, but it was because of this mechanism. My body was in such distress. It was so inflamed, I didn't even realize it. I thought I was just extremely overweight and I need to get back in the gym. But my body had so much cortisol in it that when it started to calm down, the inflammation also reduced, and that helped me burn more energy, more visceral fat, and that gently helped me reduce the belly fat over time. And when you combine that with healthy eating, and I started going back to the gym because I had more energy, I had some really tremendous results.
That's amazing. The second day after I started, I grabbed a pair of pants out of the closet that I don't usually wear because they're too tight, and I don't usually do up the top button. I just wear my belt, leave the top button undone, and I put my pants on, and this is weird. I did up the button, did up my belt, tucked my shirt in, and I was fine. I thought that is amazing, and I realized I wasn't bloated, and I spend a lot of time bloated because I eat too much, and I'm not super fond. I love dairy, but it doesn't really appreciate me all that much. But I didn't have that bloat, and I thought, man, that's pretty cool. So I kept going, and then I'm driving into town. I started thinking, I actually don't have as much like noise baggage going on. And I turn the radio on, I listen to the radio, and I usually don't because I got so much going on in my head that the radio annoys me because it interferes with what I'm thinking about or trying to process in my brain. So those two things those really got me excited. And I've heard that from other people. I am really looking forward to seeing if I can burn a little bit of my visceral fat as well, because in addition to outside fat, I have some of that I like to get rid of. But I want to just reiterate in the comments there, I see people asking, how do you get this product? If you're here because you watch my stuff and you follow my pages and that, then I'm going to post a link a little bit later on. You can click that link, and that's how you get the product. If somebody else referred you, get back to them. Send them a message right now. Say, hey, this sounds great. I want to try it. How do I do it? They'll send you a link. It's super easy. And everybody, including me, if you have issues going through the process, give us a call and we'll help you. So you would have the phone number of the person likely that recommended you. I'm just going to let's get through a couple of these questions real quick, and then we'll take some from the comments.
Okay.
So the first question I got here is, how are these hops different from what's in beer? Can't I just drink a bunch of beer?
Right. So I think I don't remember the number, but Terry says it on on his presentations. You have to drink like, I don't know if it's 35 or if it's 95, but you gotta drink
83.
83, a lot of beers to get what we have here. I actually have some information. I brought some notes with me from an interview that I saw, and I reference from the creator of this. And what they did was they have 10 years of development. It's been on the month for 19 months now. It's been on the market. We've had over 86,000 people join. And how is it different? It's different because they looked for specific markers to create a roadmap to develop this patent pending process that they use for extraction. So, with lots of research and specific markers that are identified, we have so much less junk in our product than what you would buy. You can go on Amazon and look up matured hop extract and find a copycat version, I'm sure, but it won't be as clean. It won't be as clinically significant as what we have because they were able to have a specific process that made sense to pull out exactly what they needed and only what they needed. So one of the things that happened for me was when I was doing all of my research and I was putting it up against any drug interactions, because as a pharmacist, right, that's going to be my main thing that I'm going to check for anyone who signs up with me. I say, send me all your medications. I'll go through it. I've gone through over 250 different medications and never have I even found one single contraindication. Not one. And the reason is, again, because it's just purified water and this hops extract and these bitter acids are so potent that the amount that you have to take is not something that is going to throw off your daily routine. And so I'm not sure if I answered the question exactly that you're asking, but what I'm trying to get at is that they had the ability to set a new standard lower dose. They made it more bioavailable. That means the body's going to take it up much easier. And they only pulled out the 3 extracts from the alpha and the beta and the gamma extract, which are just actually different isolates of the alpha. That may be too complicated. But it's really cool to me what they did because someone had a vision, someone had to have a dream, because this type of inspiration doesn't just come. I think it's divine. And they figured out this process that they weren't able to break or crack the code for over 70 years. They've been trying to do this. They've known about it since the 50s, and we're just now getting to this in 2024.
So here's something interesting, folks. I have a friend who is allergic to hops, and he uses pHix, and he's still alive. It appears as though they've isolated it so well and have only what they need that even whatever causes the allergic reaction isn't there.
That's absolutely right. And it's amazing because in the research I have here where it talks about how the hops extract just only has those 3 components of the mature hop bitter acid. And the hops plant has many parts, but they didn't use all of the parts. They just used only what was needed from the data that was available. And when you can do something like that, you're going to have something that no one else can duplicate. And so we have the best process to achieve the outcomes that are desired based on, one of God's health hacks from 6,000 years this planet's been around. So it's really a beautiful thing with scientific data that's backing it up. And so the other question that I would like to just touch on, which was really big for me, and you may be about to ask me this, is are they safe? Okay, so you just said one of the things that I wanted to talk about. If someone comes to you and says they're allergic to hops, you can start them on a lower dose. You don't have to start them on the full dose. That's just like anything else. The body can get used to it. So we recommend 1.2 milliliters. You can start them on 0.3 and do that for a week, then go up to 0.6, then 0.9, then 1.2. You can gradually increase, and that gives the body time to get used to this nutraceutical. But the thing that I loved the most was that standardized mature hop extracts have always demonstrated a favorable safety profile. And that was in every clinical trial that I was able to review. Mostly mild and transient adverse effects. If anything, there may have been a little bit of GI discomfort. And that was not even clinically significant that it had to be listed in any of the trials. That was with some deep research. Now, just for safety reasons, the company decided to say it's not highly recommended for pregnancy or lactation. I do want to say that. And it's not because it's contraindicated, but it's a stand. And that's another thing that you want to know about, is that the company is going to put your safety first, because we don't have clinical data suggesting one way or another. We're going to just put a standard, and we're going to have the integrity to say that we would prefer that you pause if you are pregnant or if you're lactating. And so far, all the studies that I've seen show that they are generally safe for most people, and problems are usually mild, if any occur at all.
I'm going to point something out, folks. The reason why you hear that about pregnant and nursing people on all sorts of things is because there's an ethics issue that arises with doing clinical trials on pregnant and nursing women. And the reason for that is because they are carrying another human being, another precious life in their body, and we don't want to test on them and have unfavorable outcomes, because it's unethical. Now, I do want to point out that in my lifetime, I never thought this would happen. I witnessed politicians, doctors, pharmacists, neighbors, keyboard warriors, armchair keyboard warriors, telling people that there was a specific medical intervention that was safe and effective for pregnant and nursing women. And it didn't go well. And that is the difference between a company who is about profits and stakeholder value, and a company that believes in the product and the health and wellness of the people using it. So just consider that.
Yeah, that's really, really good. People don't know this about this company, but they're actually have a mission statement. I want to read that right now. The mission statement of the company is that we are committed to building long-term relationships relationships. That means they want to get to know you by providing breakthrough products that promote living an extraordinary life. That's amazing to me. That's their mission. And that's exactly what they're doing. And so that's something that I could get behind. And I've gone out of my way to meet as many people as I can in the corporate office. And each and every one of them were very open to having a candid conversation with what they were about and why they were here and why they're doing what they're doing. And it is truly for the benefit of anyone who has an open mindset, that's willing to listen, that's willing to take a chance and make a change in their life.
That was it was a difficult thing for me, because I don't generally talk about things like this. Like I said, I'm a skeptic. But when I started realizing what people were experiencing, then I thought, oh man, now I've seen that and I can't unsee it. And now I got to talk about it. And this is going to be scary because it's out of my wheelhouse. People, as a matter of fact, when I started talking about it, people were like, has your Facebook been hacked? Like, did you get taken over by a alien or something like that? Are you a lizard person? What's going on? And no, the reality is I just saw something that looked like it, that appears and seems to be so beneficial. How do you not talk about it? And folks, when you take the chance and you try it, you'll probably have the same results. You'll probably become a salesperson for this, just like I did. And through helping other people, you're going to actually earn a little bit of money too, which is another part of this. We'll talk about that later. But on to another question here.
Sure.
Actually, I'll take one from the comments first. Somebody mentioned that she had a friend that tried this and her body got itchy when she used it. I had one of my customers say, hey, we tried this and I felt a little off. I was kind of a bit dizzy. And then it seemed to went away after a couple of days. One of the things that was pointed out to me by Terry and Allison is that sometimes when you use something like this and your body starts doing what it's doing, you mentioned lymphatic draining, those things, it can be a little bit unpleasant because your body is dealing with things that haven't been dealt with. And it's using those systems that, that get rid of the bad stuff. Is that kind of the way it goes?
Yeah, that's accurate. Because especially when you get into the breaking down of visceral fat, if people don't realize visceral fat is responsible for over 200 different diseases. And the main ones that people come to see me in the hospital about are have some causation through the visceral fat that people have accumulated in their body. And so what happens, and it's kind of like a question about how fast does it start working in the body. And what I've discovered is that after oral ingestion, it interacts with the oral and gastric receptors within minutes, and it gets down to the gut very shortly after that. And clinically meaningful changes in the body's composition, as you mentioned, such as stress perception, sleep metrics, typically emerge after consistent daily use over several weeks. But immediately, what happens is it's a shock to the system. And we are now having more toxins floating around in the body if they're coming from that visceral fat. We're now having more processes and light switches being turned on inside of our bodies and looking around saying, oh my goodness, that area is a mess over there. We need to clean that up. And wait a second, what's in this corner? And what's in that closet? Oh man, I didn't know that was in there. And so we have all of this happening to our body, and you're going to notice that whenever something bitter goes into the body, it thinks that there's a problem. So it wants to fix it. It wants to do something different. And so you might feel a little bit calmer. You might feel a little bit less anxiety, but overall, those side effects, they don't last. The things that people are reporting, especially if they reduce their dose to once a day or half a dose in the beginning, they're able to push right through it. And it's worth it. So we always do a scale, right, of benefits versus risk. And the benefits of taking a product such as this are so tremendous for your overall health that the slight risk of possibly having a little bit of itching or possibly having a little bit of GI upset or something like that, which we don't hear of too often, it's almost irrelevant. We say, what do you want to do? Do you want to improve your overall health and live longer? And you want something that supports that, because this is not a cure. This is not a treatment. This is not a fix-all. It's not a miracle drug. It's not a drug at all. It's a nutraceutical that they took right up to the edge of becoming a pharmaceutical, but they stopped. So if there's 10 steps to become a pharmaceutical, they stopped at step number 9. And that's why it's so clean. And so that's why it works so efficiently. So yeah, absolutely. When people tell me things like that, I say, listen, this is what we're going to do. And we kind of come up with a regimen that allows their system to take it in and do what needs to be done to get them back into balance.
And that's why, folks, you'll see on anything that I'm doing under the Sovereign Health Project, which is what the banner is here, I have a saying, a slogan, and the slogan is, plants are not the alternative, they're the original. And this is a very, very good example. Okay, on to some more questions. I love getting into the questions. So you already dealt with this one, how the bitter acids interact with your gut and vagus nerve.
Yeah.
You already explained how this puts your body into rest and digest. And you talked about visceral fat. Man, we've gone through almost all of them already.
Yeah.
The safety stuff, you talked about that. And what was that? How could a pharmacist or other health professional think about matured hop extracts alongside lifestyle habits like diet, exercise, and sleep?
Okay, so what I would do, and what I did actually, because I'm a living example, I've done this to myself, was after we reviewed all the different randomized controlled trials and the observational studies and the mechanistic experiments, including such data points as HRV, stress scales, body fat distribution, inflammation markers, and cognitive measures. That's what most of the data talks about. We also check the different pharmacokinetics and the dose dependent response that's available. And like I said to you earlier, the thing that I love about this is that in such a small little tiny dose, we get such a potent, and where our body uses up almost every single part of what we put into our drink. And that doesn't happen often. So we're not urinating this out. It's not coming out in our feces. It's not coming out in our sweat. What is coming out in those processes, in our breath, those are the four ways that we can expel toxins, is the visceral fat. So a lot of people, this may be like too personal or might set some people off, but if they're urinating and they see that all of a sudden there's bubbles in there and it's all bubbly, you're like, what's happening to my urine? That is actually the fat molecules, you guys. The visceral fat's being burnt off and being taken out of your body. And so to answer the question, how do we see this with lifestyle changes, is that we've looked at the studies and we as scientists measure things like stress, sleep, belly fat, heart rate patterns, and we watch for those possible side effects, if any. And when we find similar results, we trust it more. And we always advise our patients, advise our patients that this is not something that's being used to diagnose, treat, or cure or prevent diseases. It should be integrated thoughtfully with medical care, lifestyle interventions, and guidance from a qualified health professional. And simply, matured hop bitter acids are a natural helper. Again, they're not a miracle cure. We're not, it's not snake oil. It's a real thing, you guys. And we have to say this, it may support your body's calm and metabolism, but they don't replace, you know, all of the things that we know we need to do in our lives to live a healthy lifestyle and to have a better quality of life. So we're talking about the things that we eat. We're talking about the amount of exercise, the movement that we do every single day. We know that we need to have good sleep hygiene, get the 7 to 8 hours. It's not easy for any of us. It's difficult, but if we do what we know we need to do and we have a foundational product that is going to support us and make it easier for us by increasing our energy and by helping with our fat metabolism and helping with our sleep, then now you can incorporate those quality of life changes into your daily routine with ease.
The 4 pillars of health, folks: rest, relaxation, diet, and exercise. I was at a lobbying dinner with the Premier of Alberta a couple years ago. And there was a lady that stood up to lobby, and she was involved in some sort of health sciences. And she said basically that, we could shave probably half of the budget for Alberta Health simply by encouraging Albertans to focus on the 4 pillars of health. And that's what her entire practice was. She would take people who had mostly children with behavioral issues, deal with the 4 pillars, boom, let your body do what it's supposed to do by giving it the tools that it needs. And in this case, let your body do what it needs to do by giving it a trigger to go into rest and digest, do the things it needs to do. And that's a great segue into a whole bunch of questions on specific medical issues or symptoms. And I'm not going to go through them all. I'm actually going to ask you this one.
Okay.
Somebody asked about, what about for people that don't have a gallbladder? Because that's not just a imbalance, that's a missing organ.
Right. So I've actually heard that question come up before, and I have several people that have used the product that didn't have a gallbladder. And because of the location of your vagus nerve receptors, right, you are still able to get a benefit from this product, is what I've seen in those individuals. Because remember, we're sending up a signal to the brain that says, hey, pay attention, what's going on? It doesn't necessarily have to go through every single organ in order for us to receive the benefits from it. And so that question has come up before, but I can talk about cholecystokinin, and I can talk about all the different neurotransmitters and how they work together. But I don't want to get too, deep into the weeds of it. But there's a way to kind of bypass that issue.
Okay. Ladies, some of you are going to be very, very happy to hear that something I see in testimonials and even in the comments here and from my new friend, Nikki Rampel, is that their menopause symptoms have been severely eliminated by
Yes.
with this product. And there's people in the comments right now, they're testifying to this as well. So I wanted to bring it up. So of all the easy things you could do, why not give it a try? There's people in here that literally it's changed their life.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That was one of the big things that came up. And a lot of people are going to reach out to you, you're going to see, Chris, and ask you about something called phytoestrogens. And I am happy to report right now, so that you can use this as a reference, that I spoke to the developers directly and asked this specific question. Does it have phytoestrogens in it? And could that be an issue for anybody with any type of estrogen related? Sometimes people have estrogen related cancers and different estrogenic issues that can arise. And he said, no, it's not in there. It was not necessary for this product to do what it does. And so when we did our extract, we specifically were able to circumvent that part of the cone of the hops flower, and there are no phytoestrogens in our product. And that made me so happy. I came back and told everyone. I said, you guys, you don't have to worry. I used to get a question a day in my messenger asking me about, what do I do? Does it have phytoestrogens, and how will that affect me? And to know that that's not a part of this was really special.
That's awesome. Back to the inflammation. So the process that's triggered with the matured bitter hop extract allows your body to start dealing with inflammation all over. I get this question all the time. Alzheimer's disease. Alzheimer's it's an inflammation-based disease, and there's people in the comments talking about how it has slowed, stopped, or reversed their symptoms.
Yes, I've definitely seen that as well. There's been many reports where now that you're having the synapses firing again and your brain is actually being able to be in a calmer state, that it's actually reversing some of the symptoms that people have experienced with Alzheimer's. There's some people who I would say I've even heard had difficulty walking or were in a wheelchair, and they start to kind of sit up a little bit taller, and they're experiencing different things in their body that the doctors can't necessarily explain. And it makes sense to us when we go back and look at the pathophysiology of it all. And we say, well, okay, if we turn this light switch on and we've cleared out this area over here that may have been congested and may have been inflamed, and that's no longer the case, and the pressure has been taken off of some of the other cranial nerves, then that makes sense that that person may start to experiencing a tingling sensation where they didn't have any feeling at all. And so that's just all part of what we've been seeing, that has just been phenomenal, where we really want everyone to take a serious look inward and discover and ask yourself the question, could this work for me? Because a lot of us live in fear. And when we live in fear, you guys, we don't allow ourselves to have the opposite effect, which is love. Do you love yourself enough to take a chance on something that could possibly be so beneficial to you and all of the people that you love and care about? And if the answer is yes, then you definitely owe it to yourself to give this a try.
I agree with you. I never thought about this before, but how willing are we to just blindly accept that a little white pill that we pay $200 or $300 for is going to accomplish a thing that's, the people that sell it have a vested financial interest in you taking it. And in Canada, it's a tax thing. So it's easier that way. But we're not nearly as willing to accept that God could possibly have given us things in the form of plants or what's available to us that could help us. It's a very flipped way of thinking. At least what I've come to realize over the last little while.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, matured hop extract comes from the hops plant. This is something that was in the Garden of Eden. I mean, this is something that's been around forever. We did not know about it. And now that we have access to the technology that allows us to extract out the parts that are most beneficial to the human body, we are moving into a new phase. It's going to be a complete paradigm shift, you guys. I mean, we were both very, very skeptical. So to hear us talking on this side of it is just amazing to me. 14 months in, and I'm still amazed every day that this thing has me feeling as if I was 30 years old and I just turned 50. And I am so grateful that I said yes to this, because from there, you have these 3 specific matured hop bitter acids that are isolated in a standardized extract. And when you ingest it, again, just to summarize, they activate the bitter receptors in your gut that send signals to the vagus nerve. And the main way that your body gets into rest and restoration and restorative mode is through that vagal tone strengthening and activation. This may support calmer stress responses, smoother digestion. If I don't say this, then I don't know what I'm talking about at all. You will poop better.
I've heard that before.
Everyone tells me I haven't been able to go to the bathroom in weeks. I have to take all these things, stimulants and laxatives, and now I'm regular again. Just that alone, just not having to get up to use the restroom in the middle of the night for so many people is worth it. It's the little wins that we get each and every day from using this product that adds up. And the human studies suggest that this extract is just really good at supporting reduction in, like I said, the visceral fat, and improving your metabolism, and even affecting thermogenesis. And again, it's not magic, but it may be a very helpful tool alongside real world habits such as nutrition and movement, sleep, and stress management. And let's just be crystal clear. Everything we're telling you guys tonight is for educational and informational purposes. We are not giving you any medical advice. Please get back to the person that recommended you to come and watch this podcast and get their information. That's really important that you do that.
Yeah. You mentioned the little wins. You know what the little wins in our lives do? Those little changes, they contribute to our overall well-being by reducing the amount of stress we have in our life. Just being regular, or maybe having reduction in brain fog, or reduced menopause symptoms. All those things are they're increasing the quality of your life by reducing the amount of stress you have, and that's contributing to your overall wellness. It's a win-win. I wanted to mention, you just mentioned that people need to get back to the people that sent them.
Absolutely.
Here's the really interesting thing about this. When you try this product and you have good positive results, like I've had, like Dr. Kareem has had, like my sponsor George has had. George doesn't get up to go to the bathroom anymore, and his quality of life is increased. You're going to want to share this with people. Now, not everybody can do a webinar and have a guest and talk about these things and invite people in, but you can invite people to these things. And when you do that, you're going to get rewarded for helping people improve something in their life, whether it's a small thing or a large thing. You listen to some of the testimonials that Allison has from people on her team that have had life-changing experiences. And like it almost brings a tear to your eye, knowing how much of a benefit it can be. You get to help people, and you benefit from it in that it feels great to help someone, but you can get paid. Like, it is a real thing. That's This is an affiliate marketed product, and the reason for it is because these testimonials are what sell the product. There's probably going to be, I would say, 20 or 30 people who are going to try this product from this webinar tonight. They're going to share this, and over the next few weeks, they're going to bring people on, and eventually they're going to be paid commissions for doing that. So it's a win-win-win. Your own health, your friends and neighbors' health, your wealth, your overall state of well-being. And we're talking about a product that is cheaper than what I spend on Starbucks chai lattes in a month. Really, it's
Absolutely.
You really can't lose, in my humble
And
opinion.
yeah, and just to add on to that, again, the company's mission is to build long-term relationships. That means they own the intellectual property. They're the largest producers of these little snaps right here in the world. And they want breakthrough products that promote living an extraordinary life. And I also take some of their other products here. We're not going to talk about them tonight. I don't want you to be confused. We want you to come in with the one product, but then we're going to show you all of these other things that they have that are just as good, if not equivalent, in what they can provide as far as your quality of life is concerned. And as a healthcare provider, you guys, this is something I would share for free. But I am an independent sales rep. I do want to disclose that. And because of that, I actually get paid not to do things like this necessarily, but I'm able to go back to my job and say, hey, you guys, take me off the schedule for X, Y, and Z because I'm doing okay. And it's a real business. I'm able to write off things on my taxes that I wasn't able to do before. If I go to work and talk to anybody about it, that drive can be written off. It's just so many things that have been beneficial for me personally and for my family from a business point of view, to where I believe if things continue the way they are, I've had over 4,400 people have joined my team now, that
Wow.
I will be able to retire within the next few years. And that is from something that I wasn't even going to try, that I thought was fake. What if I would have said no? What if Haley didn't care enough about me to say, give it a try, do your research, and come back to me and tell me what you find? If you find that it's not real, I'll accept it. But if you do find that the science behind it stands up, then I would like you to make a decision. And she left it in my hands, and like I said, I took it to the other doctors and we sliced it up. And just in close, are we about to close here?
We got another about 15 minutes. Yeah.
Okay. I was just wanted to say that I'm sharing this because I know some of you listening are hurting. I know some of you are scared because I was. And I know some of you are tired of feeling stuck in your own body. I've been there. I did not know what to do. And no white paper, no clinical trials, no presentations, no pamphlets could give me the information enough where I can come out with confidence. It wasn't until I actually gave my body a real chance to heal by taking the actual product. And you have to experience this for yourself. You have to give it enough time. You did not get into the situation that you're in today overnight. And you have to let your system to come back into balance and alignment and a process that they call homeostasis, which is going to allow yourself to heal from within. You want to work with your doctors and your healthcare providers, of course, but it's a simple invitation that we're making to you tonight, that if you see what we see and what we're sharing with you, if you've heard something tonight, you owe it to yourself again to get back to the friend who cared enough about you to share this with you.
Absolutely. I agree 100%. One of the things that happened for me is as I kind of started this journey and I had good results, and I'm hearing good results from my team as well, I started to think more about health sovereignty. What are the things that I can do in my life that aren't super disruptive, It's not costing me a pile of money, that are going to contribute in small ways to my overall state of wellness. And part of the reason why I started looking at the other products in the MPG product line is because I was very excited that this product is working. The business structure works. I'm actually making money doing it. I'm helping people. And that made me think, well, if it's working, I should look at the other things. So now I've gotten rid of my toxic laundry soap, and I order laundry soap that doesn't have poisons that are going to try and kill me. I've replaced my multivitamin with something that's done better and is more conducive to a healthy outcome than my mass-produced stuff. I've thrown out my deodorant that probably is going to give me Alzheimer's, and I switched to a mineral-based deodorant that isn't going to kill me. Just small little things. And I did those things because I was excited at what the opportunity is when you take that chance. And folks, I almost guarantee that will happen for you as well. So the product is real. It's legit. The testimonies speak for themselves. The business side of it is legit. And I used to be 100% against this business model. Now I am an advocate. It's real. It works. What have you got to lose? Get back to the person who blessed you and got you to come on this webinar and listen to these things. Have a conversation with them. Try it and be me or Dr. Kareem 6 months or a year from now, sharing this with other people and helping people with their health and their wealth. It is a fantastic feeling. And I can't say it enough. Thank you, George, for continuing to bug me so that I went on this journey with you. There are people asking about replays. Yes, this will be available on YouTube, Facebook. I think it's on X, but probably YouTube and Facebook is better. You can share it with whoever you want. Please make sure you let them know to get back to you, because I do post my link in the comments so that people can sign up under me if they were invited by me. And use the information, take it or leave it. I guess it's a free webinar, and the rest is up to you. And I guess is there anything else that you wanted to say?
Just double down on what you're saying. It's very simple, you guys. You have in America, in the US, it's a $250 decision to make. You've been given enough information, hopefully, here tonight, that you can see that there is something here. 86,000 people have joined us as of today on this health and wealth movement. And they even have a bonus thing that we haven't even mentioned, where they have a travel system where you get the absolute lowest prices that you could get as if you were a travel agent for free. For free. Just as a thank you to joining us on this health and wellness movement that we have going. And if you heard something tonight that just stirred something up in you, that maybe gave you a little bit of hope, please, 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 respectfully, get back to your friend. Just tell them a simple yes or a simple no. Sometimes a no is actually appreciated more than let me think about it. Because by the time you sit there and think about it, and Chris has his next guest on and does another podcast, how many people have jumped into that position where you could have been? Because this is a binary plan, meaning it has a left side and a right side. That's it. Only two sides. They have to go somewhere. So the next spot right now is yours if you choose to take action.
Bingo.
So tell them how you honestly feel about it. Yes, I saw it. No, I didn't see it, but respond. That allows them to move on and go to the next person and give them that spot. Okay, ask for their link, ask for their information, and make the decision that's right for you. So I just want to say thank you, Chris, so much from the bottom of my heart. I feel like you took really good care of me. I was a little bit, a little bit nervous coming on here.
Me too.
I heard you had a big audience. And I said, okay, well, I've been studying all day, looking at my notes, and said, all right, let's do it. Let's share it. We've been given a gift. You can't keep a gift to yourself. And I'm really in the business of being of service to others. That's very high on my list. And so I just want to say thank you for letting me share my story. And that I pray it continues to work for you and give everyone here that's listening hope that change is still possible. And it's just possible for us, but it's possible for each and every one of you out there watching this right now. Thank you.
Absolutely. I got to mention, folks, one of the other things you get when you take this journey and you become a independent sales rep is you get a team of people like Dr. Kareem and my new friend Terry Camp and Allison, who don't have to do these things, but they do it, and they're going to help you not only with the health part of this, but also building the business side. Like Terry, that man, he's got some energy. He does Zooms like 3 or 5 times a week. He speaks at events. He genuinely wants to help you folks build something of this so that you can help other people. And that is something very uncommon. And we see it all the time. People attain, their wealth or whatever, and they withdraw to their little circles. No. That's not happening here. The people that don't even need to work anymore, they're right there in the trenches with you, helping get the word out and helping you build. So the opportunity is there. I'm not gonna say anything more about it, but I sure hope that you guys and girls reach out and grab it, because if you don't now, you're probably gonna want to later, and I'll have signed up 100 or 200 people between now and then. So choice is yours. Thank you very much, Dr. Kareem, for giving us your time. It was absolutely wonderful. You did a fantastic job, and I look forward to having you on again, because I'm sure we're going to have to get this information out to another group of people in the very near future. So
Let's do it. Thank you. Thank you, Chris.
And have a great night.
You too.
Well, there you go, folks. This is the 4th podcast I've done on this subject. It is completely out of the ordinary for me. It is not normal for me to promote any product, and I'm promoting this product. You should probably ask yourself why. What is it about this product in a world of, there's thousands of other things that people are trying to promote and trying to sell, and many of them are affiliate or multi-level marketing things. Why did I choose this one? If you still don't know, go back and watch the webinar again. This is a legit thing. The mechanism is real. I wrote a few articles on it. There's a white paper that MPG gives out talking about the science and the research and stuff like that. I thought, you know what? I'm kind of a research guy, and I don't want to take the word of the people that are selling it. I did my own research. I wrote my own paper. I put it on my own website for you people. Oh no, I'm going Don Cherry now. For you folks to review, and I cited the research. You can check it out yourself. So I don't know what else there is to say. For those of you that have already joined, I know there's quite a few. Welcome to the team. Looking forward to working with you and helping you to build your team and help others as well. And for those of you who are still on the fence, you can reach out to me or whoever invited you to this webinar for more information, and we'll do everything we can to help you. Thank you very much. Have a great evening. And remember, plants are not the alternative. They're the original. Have a great night. Meow.